The topic for this video is audio, the thing After Effects was never built to do. You can of course edit and manipulate audio within Adobe After Effects, but both Audition and Premiere Pro are better at it, so go look at those instead. We're going to be looking at adding audio, using an audio file's waveform, using markers to give us a visual clue for sounds within audio. We're also going to look at one or two of the audio effects and creating keyframes directly from audio files. And finally, how you can use expressions with audio files too. I know, that's a lot to cover for something you shouldn't use. Here I am in AE and here's a familiar audio file. So let's drag it onto the new composition icon, and After Effects will create a new comp for this audio file, matching the duration and using the last comp's dimensions for the dimensions of this comp. Obviously you can change everything by going to Composition Settings. Now to hear the audio we can refer to the preview controls. I'll just drag to expand it. I've got mine set so tapping the spacebar will try to play both audio and video, although if AE can't play at the full frame rate it does tend to make the audio hard to listen to. I also use 0 on the keypad, which will preview the video without audio. Sometimes, often in fact, I will play the sequence through using the 0 key first and then replay with the spacebar. After Effects Preview is pretty good these days, but it's still loading each frame into the computer's RAM, so if it's building a shot it can't always do it in real time. Finally, the dot on the keypad, or the keypad period key, will play just the audio back. Now the audio layer is a layer like any other. We can trim it and move it around the timeline, but there's no scale or position or any visual reference in the composition window. I can set audio levels and keyframe them. And if I click to expand the waveform, I get a visual representation of the sound. This can be a little awkward though, so instead of using the waveform, let's add a layer marker on each beat. And now you get to see just how unmusical I am. Pressing dot on the keypad, I'm now going to tap the asterisk key or star key on the keypad during playback to add a marker. And if I concentrate very hard, I should be able to tag each beat. And there, you can see I got close. I can always drag my markers around if needed. But now I can set my animations against these markers, like this. I'll create a new solid, make it 500 by 500 pixels, and let's have it bounce to the music. I want it to jump up on each beat and then fall back down. So right before the first marker, I'll start a keyframe, and then right after set another. And then on the marker, I'll raise the square up. Now to highlight the keyframes and copy them, which is Ctrl+C, and then move the current time indicator to the next marker and Ctrl+V to paste them. Line them up and onto the next. So it's not bad, but it's a little time consuming. Also the music changes at the end and it doesn't quite seem right. So instead, let's get After Effects to help out. Highlight the audio file and go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, Convert Audio to Keyframes. After Effects creates a new null object with sliders full of keyframes. I can see all those by tapping U on the keyboard. There's a new value for every frame of the comp. Now let's leave our original blue square alone, but highlight it and hit enter on the keyboard and let's rename it and call it something like manual. And then use Ctrl+D to duplicate the layer and rename it, this time keyast. Tap U on the keyboard and click on the stopwatch to delete the keyframes. And let's drag it over to the side. Now if I drag the current time indicator slowly along, you can see that both channel slider values are jumping up and down. We can't copy these values and paste them directly into keyast position data, as that requires 2 values per frame and the channel slider only has 1 value. but we could use an expression. We could of course paste the keyframes into a single value property like rotation or opacity, but let's stick with position for now. Holding down the Alt key, click on key asks position.watch to open the expressions area. And now type square bracket, value square bracket 0, closing the first square bracket, comma, value square bracket 1, closing that, plus. And then use the pick whip to point to the both channels slider property. And then close the square bracket. What we've done here is tell After Effects that whatever the current value of the X position is, we want to keep using that. That's value 0. And for the Y value, we want the current value plus the value of the audio keyframe. Now let's play back our composition. Okay, so it sort of works, but it's going down and not up. That's my fault for remembering that up in a composition would need a reduction, not an addition, but also it's not moving very much. This comp is 1080 pixels high, and the slider values represent at most only about 5% of that. So let's edit the expression. First we'll change the plus to a minus. And now let's add in a multiplier, say times 5. Okay, not bad, and in theory a lot less work than manual keyframing. But you know what would be easier? If After Effects just had an effect to visualize an audio file. Oh look, if I go to Effect, Generate, I can see I can both add an audio spectrum and an audio waveform. Here's audio spectrum, and once I use the audio layer drop down to identify my audio track, I have lots of options. And you can have loads of fun here. You draw a circular mask onto the layer and set it to none, and then point the path drop down to it. You can even have your audio meter going around in a shape. And audio waveform is pretty much the same, although I think you can more or less reproduce this just using the spectrum options. There are actual audio effects too in Effects Audio, but really if you're messing with the audio and adding treble or bass, you should probably be looking at using a true audio editor. Should you wish, or need to, there's a meter in the audio window which will give you a preview of the levels, and you can adjust the levels here too using the slider. A good rule of thumb is try not to let the top squares light up red. That's maxing out the volume, and will distort audio on playback, and people will complain. Okay, last two things to mention. Plenty of video files also contain audio. These files will also have audio settings and the waveform options in the timeline, and any file which has audio will include this icon. You can turn off the audio for a layer by clicking here, which is exactly the same as turning off the layer's visibility by clicking on the eye. And finally, I'm going to leave you with this very contrived example combining time remapping, audio expressions, layer markers, and an audio file. In this comp, I have keyframed a solid circle dropping from the top of the screen to the bottom. I've then duplicated the layer many times and used the anchor properties to change the horizontal position of the circle, otherwise I would have had to change all of my keyframes quite a bit. Now I want to use the same sound effect for each circle, but that would have either meant creating a pre-comp of the animation, which is totally valid for motion graphics, but wouldn't have worked if I was wanting to add a sound effect to multiple events in a live action video. So instead, I've added time remapping to my audio layer, and then I've used a complicated expression from Creative Chaos forums to play back the audio every time a layer marker is found. The end result being which is awesome, frankly. Imagine I needed to add the sound of a machine gun. All I need to do is add my audio, add this expression, and then tap away using the star key. This comp is in the project file, so it's really easy for you to reuse. So, going back to my earlier statement, After Effects isn't ideal for audio, but you can do a surprising amount with it.